Great example. And for purposes of time today, I'm not going to share any of my sad stories, but we've all got these stories. And at the crux of it all, there's a little thing that says, we hear you. And I've done kind of that fairly deliberately, because most experiences, that majority of the anger, the emotion that you will feel, not may feel, I'm guaranteeing you, you will feel, is that people are not feeling heard. They are frustrated. They are getting pushed from pillar to post. They've been promised X and getting nothing. Things have been unresolved for months and months. They're getting debit order SMSs that are threatening them, and etc., etc., etc. So by the time they have got through to you, it may have been months of attempts previously through the other call center, which has just been swamped. So people are already at the end of their tether, and no one has heard them. Listen to me carefully. Nobody has heard them or acknowledged them. Because at the end of the day, you may or may not have heard of the saying that babies cry for it and grown men die for it. Not you, Loshni. Anybody know what I'm talking about? When babies cry for it and grown men die for it. What are we talking about? Is this a riddle? Does anyone know what I'm talking about here? Attention. Or recognition. And it's one of it's fairly closely aligned. Of course, yes, and those of you who have got young children know, especially if they're siblings, the one that cries the most often gets the most attention as well. So they want attention, but at the end of the day, because grown men are prepared to go to war, prepared to put their lives on the line in the trenches or wherever, it doesn't have to be World War I. But if people, grown men, are prepared to die for something and babies cry for it, it is actually being recognized. You are visible. I see you. I hear you. And that is really, really, really at the heart of what either defines a great customer experience, and that's why we don't use the word customer service anymore. It's an experience. That is where people have changed over the years, especially with the advent of the immediacy of Instagram. It's, ooh, how many followers have I got? How many likes? It's this instant age of expectation of always being on. Oh, but I sent you an email. Dude, it's like, it's 12 o'clock on a Saturday night. Don't expect me to, hello. I sent you an email an hour ago. Who gets freaked out on WhatsApp? Who gets freaked out on WhatsApp, especially on a group or an individual, where you see the two little blue ticks and it goes crickets, and you're expecting a response. Show of hands, please. Who gets freaked out? Come on, out the closet. Yeah. I get so freaked out that I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to see blue ticks. I want to be invisible, because then I stop becoming uncertain and I stop freaking out. Because it is irritating being ignored. And all it could have taken was a thumbs up, or I'll get back to you, or I'm busy, or something, or a smiley face. At least then there's a ping. But when you're not getting a ping back, don't we all freak out? Everybody say, I. I. Okay. So hopefully the point is made. This is what people at the heart of it all are wanting. A little bit of recognition. And that comes in various ways. So your number one skill, well, you've got two skills. One, you have to have your brain in gear and thinking, not in neutral cruise control mode, going downhill. You need to be thinking, because that's only two tools. You got three. You got the voice box, but your number one tool are these two little ornaments on the side of your ears, on your head. It's called ears. Okay. And they're there for a reason. They're not just to hold back your hair or whatever, hold your glasses on your face. They're there for a reason. Those two little earlobey things are there to listen. They are there to hear. But sometimes when our head and the mind is not being engaged, we like to just talk. Especially if you've come from a sales background. We like to think, oh, I'm in control of a conversation because I'm talking. I'm asking the questions. And do you not find that sometimes in our enthusiasm to get a point made or to defend ourselves or to defend the company or what may or may not have happened by the call center in Joburg or IT or billing, we're talking more than we are listening. And in a customer services role, your role should be speaking less, listening more. If that's all that you get as a takeaway from today, guys, it's that. Disengage the voice box for a change. And it's okay if you start using some words of encouragement to let the person talk, because you need to be listening and taking notes and listening with intent or an intention. What is your intention? Your intention is to understand what the customer is irate about, what the customer wants. Sometimes they don't always arrive irate. Sometimes people are just wanting XYZ. They're not pissed off yet. They just want a insurance certificate or a password. Sure, they want some mundane things. Not everyone's going to be angry and but if you don't give them a chance to talk and you're not listening and playing back to them what you think you've interpreted, they're not going to have a great experience, because they are a consumer and babies cry for it, grown men die for it. They just want to be listened to. Cool. So when somebody is having a meltdown, when somebody is going off pop, when somebody like a few weeks ago is not calming down without you telling them to, okay? When somebody is just like losing their shit, allow them to vent. I've got my little kettle there on the boil for a reason. It's like, I like these visual things of just let it vent. Let it all out. When you're telling a story to somebody, a great listener or a person that you value telling your problems to, normally they're just great listeners. Normally, they don't just interrupt and, hey, but have you thought of this? Ba-ba, ba-ba. Or, let me, you think that's bad. My experience is worse, and I've just disrespected you. A great listener, a great psychologist sometimes even, a great customer services agent or customer experience agent, allows the person to vent. I'm a big venter. I'm one of those little kettles. I'm a little teapot, short and stout, okay? When I lose my shit, I lose my shit. And I find myself when I'm trying to talk to DSTV or one of the bank call centers, I find myself right at the end of my vent, because I need to tell them my story, how I've been pushed from pillar to post, my frustrations, how long it's taken for my credit or blah, blah, blah to happen. And at the end of the day, if the person has been really sharp and honestly really quiet, I end up like an old steam engine, I end up running out of puff. I end up having regurgitated and told my story, and I find myself, and I catch myself, not everyone's like this, but I catch myself already starting to apologize to them. I'll say things like, I know you're, I'm sorry, I know you're just the messenger. Have people ever vented off at you before? And I know Lashley, who deals with all Hello Peters over the last decade, has heard a lot of these venting stories. And this is not rocket science. I'm not spewing something that nobody knows. But once a person has felt heard, got their story out, they often will start almost apologizing and say, no, I'm sorry if I came across a little bit rude. I'm sorry for my odd swear word. Because I know you're just the messenger and this is your job. And I really start to apologize. But you've got to have let a person vent completely, get it all off their chest before they get to that point. If they're only halfway through their point and you're interrupting, and using certain words which I'll teach you just now to avoid, you will not be able to get them to that state of almost exhaustion. Like, in the kettle analogy there, when all the water's boiled off, there's no more gas, there's no more hot air. Okay, so let them vent. And it's not easy. What do you need to do? Because we're all feeling that this is an emotional attack. And it's commonplace to tell a person, absolutely, please calm down, sir. Please don't scream and shout at me. There's no need to swear. I'm going to put down the phone. Have any of you guys either said that or thought that? Probably say aye. Aye. What you need to do. You really need to have what we call a little out-of-body experience here. You need to disassociate yourself, almost see yourself flying in the ceiling, seeing yourself on the dialer with the headset on, and breathe. Just breathe. And in your mind saying, this is not an attack on me. They're attacking the situation. They're attacking a problem. They're attacking everybody else's foot faults. They are just venting their frustrations. But they're not attacking me, Nklanhla. They're not attacking you, Lashni. They're not attacking me, Clint. It's not about me. They don't know you from a bar of soap. They have no idea. They might have a picture because of how you might sound like, or a sexy voice, or you're a guy or a girl or whatever. They might have a picture, but they've got actually no beef with you. They've got beef with the company, with the product that may or may not have failed them or perceived to have failed them. But your key thing, and if I'd say, let's take a yoga class, I would say take a freaking yoga class, Lashi, and get these guys to start stretching and breathing and hidden cat, 0.3, crouching tiger, hidden dragon. These are little silly techniques. And next to your PC monitors, put whatever inspires you and makes you smile. A picture of, I don't know, the Maldives, or your child, or something that brings back a memory to the most fun moment of your life. Could have been given birth, whatever it is. But you need that little distraction to say, this is not about me. How many of you guys feel that you're almost start hyperventilating with emotion? Anybody say aye? That's ever felt, oh my God, I can't, like you almost want to just throw the headset down and run. Anybody say aye? Yes. Because why? Because we are all human beings and it's normal. It is natural. But in this particular role, it is your role to learn how to disassociate yourself and understand this is not about me. I cannot overemphasize it enough. So, again, I say, don't take things personally. You need to be neutral. You need to be in that zone of, I'm actually going to be the middleman here, middle person. Let me be PC correct here. I'm going to be the middleman. I'm going to be Switzerland. There's you, sir or ma'am. There's the company and your issue. I'm this little neutral island in between, and I'm going to be your buffer, but I'm going to be your solution provider. And that is key and critical. Currently, I know there's, while there's some systems, permissions and frustrations, because right now you're not able to close the call 100% is still what you call it, hashtags and hashtag just saying, or hashtag that or whatever, which is quite frustrating. It's super frustrating because you can't give what we'd love to do right now, which is the one core resolution. Lastly, have things improved at all lately or not? Not so much, it's still the same.
They're releasing the rains. We've been patient. Candy was here yesterday, but we'll chat offline about that.
Okay, but it's coming soon. And believe you me, when you know something is now in your power, sorry, to actually make a difference, to actually do something for the customer, your job satisfaction levels are going to start going through the roof. Because right now you're between a rock and a hard spot. You're just promising within 24 hours, 48 hours, something's going to happen. And you know, you might pick up a call again in a few days' time, the same problem, etc. It's a temporary thing. Thanks to the Lord, Satyagraha. Okay. So just be neutral, don't take things personally. So part of this whole listening process is finding ways to encourage that person to continue the conversation, to continue the event. And there's some really subtle little things that you can say which will encourage them to continue talking. So if somebody's venting and they seem to hit a little bit of a flat spot, but you know there's more. You know there's more to be said. And they're telling their story. Instead of immediately going to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then, what else happened? Can you tell me more? You're right. And it's almost, if you were face to face with a person having the event, what we could do is we'd use our body language. We'd be shaking the head, giving the non-verbal ways of encouraging a person to talk. People can't see us, so I look like a bit of a doofus by going, obviously they're not going to keep on talking. So we need to encourage them. It's like a little bit of a probe for more. And what else happened? Is there anything else? What more went wrong? An acknowledgement straight away of, gee whiz, you're right. And those are really important things where a person feels like you really want to hear their issue. You're not defensive. You're neutral. You're in. And then what happened? Okay. So some of those probing questions could be, and just a whole lot of examples. And if you can't read them, it's fine. I'll just read it out for you anyway, but you'll get a copy of this later. So things could be like, and these questions have to be very appropriate to the conversation, obviously. When exactly did this problem begin? Maybe something that you could use. Have you done anything to address the issue? Which means, gee whiz, tell me about how many times you've sent an email, you sent an SMS, you've tried to phone the IVR. It's just going to get them to say, gee whiz, yes, hang on for 15 minutes, 3 or 4 days in a row. They might not have told you that up front, but because you care and you're asking, now it's on the record. Oh, word, that's really frustrating. Can you give me an example of the error that you're getting on? Again, these kind of probing questions need to be appropriate. You mentioned why. Can you tell me more about that? So it's saying, what else? How did you feel about that? I was frustrated. This is bullshit. Because now I'm actually talking, I'm going to start, and we'll talk about labeling emotions a little bit later. But immediately the person's going to label their own emotion. So how did you feel about it? Did that make you angry? Here we're starting to edge towards maybe a possible solution. So what would be your ideal outcome? Now, if somebody had asked Loshni that question when she was talking to Standard Bank and her UCount rewards and the credit that was owed, and all she got was, did you, we paid your credit. Loshni was expecting something else. Maybe not a bunch of roses. But if they'd been asked a question, Loshni may well have said, well, I'd actually like a written apology. Or, you know, why don't you give me some bonus UCount rewards as a to make this up? Well, whether it's in their power or not in their power, man, just the mere fact that you know you're feeling this client is not quite satisfied yet. We've just crossed the T, but we didn't dot the I. Is she ecstatic about the outcome? No. It is, they've refunded her, it is due to her. But there's no extra wow factor. Man, I'm really, really sorry. What we're going to be doing for you is we will be crediting you with 3 months UCount rewards subscription as a real sincere apology, and the excessive delays that you've had to go through. Plus, I'm also going to be, we're going to credit you with 100 minutes of airtime, because I know it's not the 300 minutes that you spent already on wasted phone calls, but hopefully, you know, it goes some way. How do you feel about that, man? Oh, okay, thank you very much. Hey, you're trying to go the extra mile a little bit. And that is the subtle difference between bare minimum, I've done my job, tick, yes, you got that, or a sincere apology, or, you know, I'm actually going to get my CEO, my call center manager to give you a call as well. In fact, I've asked him he's listening in on the call. I'd like to just introduce you to so-and-so, and you can actually hear it from him. Hello, is that Ms. O'Day? Hi, Ms. O'Day. You're speaking to blah, blah, blah. And I am so-and-so supervisor. Just once again, our sincere apologies. I think we handled this really shambolically. No excuses. The delays are not acceptable. And as a result, blah, blah, blah. Now, suddenly, you're turning what we're making lemonade out of the lemon. You suddenly have this opportunity to just lift that person and say, Loshni starts to forget about the 300 minutes wasted, and she starts to think, shit, that's one of the better banking calls I've actually had, because they actually sounded sincere. They made an extra effort, and I'll talk right at the end about companies and standards that we should be aspiring to create that wow. So guys, those probing questions are super important. Make up your own probing questions. These are just little examples. Okay. So when you guys went on sales training, you may have started remembering, oh, wait a second, agree, turn, re-impulse, close. When you get an objection. And I hope you haven't forgotten it, because that's really, really good stuff. Unfortunately, it doesn't work quite as well in a customer experience department, because it can often come across as being combative. You're not really listening to me. You're trying to just turn the objection, and you're trying to stand in your rightness. You're trying to be, I win, you lose, which is a win-lose, which is a lose-lose actually. So there's a subtle difference. Yes, you need to agree. You need to accept that we've stuffed up. We need to take it, even though it's you taking it on the chin for the company and had nothing to do with you, that's empathy, that understanding and agree. Absolutely, ma'am, you're right, that is not on. If it is me, I would actually probably have lost my you know what a long time ago. I'm really sorry we treated you this way. I'm sorry and apologize for the delay in waiting to get through to us, or whatever the issue is. Real empathic sort of language like, that's not right, I'd feel exactly the same way. Or, thanks, and this is what we're going to do. Ma'am, I'm hearing, I've had a couple of customers this morning who've also just, you know, bombarded us with understandably being very upset with regards to their debit order not going off, and then they got this SMS. You know, I would be just as upset as you, and this is what we're going to do about it. So you really need to take some of the best relevant parts of the objection handling formula, especially the agree. Let's own it. Even though we didn't stuff up, or we may have, but we probably didn't stuff up. Somewhere along the food chain stuffed it up. But let's own it, and let's not fight it. And let's show some empathy. Also, remember letting them vent and talk it through. It's very subtle. Then you're suddenly going from me versus you, win or lose, confrontational. So it's like a boxer. If somebody throws a punch, our natural reaction is to punch back. One of us is going to get knocked out, or both of us get knocked out at the same time. It's lose-lose. If we can change the scenario from me versus you to me and you, and literally, well, not literally, but you really side with the person, in the language of you need to side with the customer, almost as if you're sitting side by side, because suddenly you're seeing it from their perspective. Man, I understand how you're feeling. Do not say, I hear you. I know my little thing right up front says, I hear you. Don't say it, actually. Because it's become this cliche word. I hear you. I hear you, but I hear what you're saying. No, because it's such a cliche, people aren't actually hearing. Unless you've actually heard, then don't say, I hear you. Show more empathy. And this is at the heart of it all. There's a little heart there for a reason, because we need to show some people some love. So we talk about you need to be genuinely interested in others. And if you're really not one of these kind of people, you're probably in the wrong department. I'm not saying you've got to take everything on your heart and your chest and on your shoulders, and you need to slit your wrists with the person. No, but you need to show some realness, some genuine empathy. And if you don't have it yet, well, you probably can fake it until you make it by using words which at least appear to be more genuine. But we're a genuine company. We're a real company. I think everyone knows where we are, hearts on our sleeves, a little bit of whack, you know, wacky. Apparently my son says whack means something else. I just thought, okay. But you need to be genuine. Don't be these obvious fakers. Otherwise we're going to turn into a bunch of sociopaths. And that's not cool. We'll be a Tinder, what's a Tinder swindler or something. Okay, no, not cool. Okay, so I'm going to talk about stuff called labeling. It's very, very powerful, and not just in customer experience, customer services, in life in general. These are some of those little finer tidbits which I think can really help even in negotiations, etc. When somebody's venting, when somebody's upset, they're just having a conversation, and you label their emotion. You label their emotion. You're not blaming them. You're not calling it out. It's saying stuff like, man, it sounds like you're seriously frustrated on us. Absolutely, yes. You're right. I'm very frustrated. Again, it talks to the empathy. You're labeling how they're feeling. But you can't label unless you've been listening properly and feeling how they're feeling, trying to walk in their shoes. It seems like, it looks like, and especially if somebody said something like, you know, don't you guys see the problem? You know, it's when they use the word see, they're probably quite visual people anyway. So you need to kind of mirror it back to them and say, it looks like. Remember, see and look are two of the same kind of words, cousin brothers. Okay, it looks like you're seriously frustrated here. It looks like you're probably about to cancel. Am I right? Absolutely. This is enough. I'm just and up to here with your bloody mixed telematics and blah, 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 and promises. Rule number one, this is subtle stuff. I say, never say I say, try not to say I. Because it actually can sound to the other person like you're more interested in yourself. Unless the context is, I would feel exactly the same way. Okay. Rule number two, again, be quiet and listen. And listening means silence. Silence. Quiet. Okay. The power of the label. So once you've labeled how they're feeling or how it seems to you, what you're labeling their emotion. Okay, you're labeling their feelings. Once you've labeled it, here's the key and critical bit. You go into silence. Let it go, dead space, dead air. Don't be tempted to talk after 1 or 2 seconds because it's like awkward. Ma'am, it seems like you're very, very upset. Have the strength to be quiet, like I just did there. Have the patience to let that person reflect back and say, start thinking, yes, I am. Because then at that space in time, they've recognized you've been listening. They recognize that you've got them, that you've truly understood them. But you need to be quiet. After you've labeled their emotion, be quiet. And I'd love you guys to practice this, all these little tips and tricks, and some will resonate with some of you. And you'll maybe just try one thing today. If this is one of those things, the labeling of a person's emotion and going quiet. Again, any new skill, any new advice and training, you need to put it into practice. Don't be afraid to try it. Because the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it, the more consciously competent you will become, the better you will become, more effective you'll become. So the power of the label is that it invites the other person to reveal themselves, their true selves. And that's why it's beyond just customer service. This is a great tool when you're coaching. And if you're going to leadership one day, Lashni and McClellan and John and the guys will know these labeled emotions are very, very powerful. So we'll talk about what is called solutions language. Because it's one thing to be hearing and absorbing all the hassles, all the feelings, but sooner or later, the customer just wants a solution. So you need to use 2 words, what and how. And how you use that in your language is going to start showing to the client what we are going to do about it. Okay, so those 2 words indicate a solution is coming, because there needs to be action and a solution. Again, understand right now you don't have all the solutions. You're not empowered with all the solutions. That's coming. Okay. The BUT word, the but word, is not junk in the trunk. Okay, it's not booty calls and stuff like that. Whenever you say the word but, wow, you sound like really upset, man. But then whatever you've said before the but, I love you, Joe Soap, your boyfriend, girlfriend, you're saying wonderful things to each other. I think you're really, really sexy and intelligent. But and whatever you say thereafter, the person's like, oh my God, whatever you said before the but's bullshit. The lies. Hey? You change that 3-letter word. You change it from but to and. It is so, one of the most fundamentally big things in life I've learned to change my way of thinking, my way of talking and conversing with people. Blah, 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 blah. And that automatically puts you into a solutions orientated mode or into a positive mode. Okay, try it with each other. And again, it's like trying on new shoes or changing cars. You know, the gears seem a little bit weird, seems a little bit unnatural, and you'll always default to the words that we're used to, the language that we're used to. Okay. So the solution focus is people really just need to know that we are focused on finding a solution to the problem. Whatever the issue is, whatever is generating their feelings of anger or frustration or powerlessness or whatever, we need to be solution focused. Okay. Key in every customer experience is managing expectations. So if you say to your client, I will feed back to you and I will get back to you before 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. If that is the promise, because at the end of the day, you know, especially if you're able to promise, don't promise things or create an expectation that you know, hey, I'll never be able to meet it. I'll never be able to. If you used to, you know, tell your husband or whatever, I'll be home for my night out with the girls by 10 o'clock at night. No, the husband says, okay, I can do it. But whatever time comes 11 o'clock and he hasn't heard from me, and that's probably normally the guy promising the wife, let's be honest here, okay. But if you have not managed the expectations, if you didn't WhatsApp her at like 9:45, say, sure, man, so-and-so just came around, bought a last round. I know I said I'd be home by 10. I think I'll probably only get out of here at about 10:15, and it's 20 minutes drive. So probably 10:10, 11, I'll be back. You know, by you just either texting or phoning, and before the deadline, not after, it's like 10:15, now, hey, last round. No, pissed off, anger, frustration. What's different in a customer service environment? There's no difference. What people are expecting, you need to manage what they expect. So if you say, I will phone you back in 30 minutes, you best you phone back in 30 minutes. But also be sharp and say, I know I promised you we'd have a result by 3 o'clock, and it's now 2:45. I'm just letting you know I'm still waiting for that person to come out of a meeting. As soon as they step out of the meeting, I'm taking it there for the sign-off or for permission or for a solution. So people are very accepting if you speak to them, if you communicate with them, if you proactively communicate with them. You'll be amazed at what you can extend and get away with. Managing expectations is everything. Under promise, over deliver. Under promise and rather over deliver. And also, if you know you've got a good news story and something credit has been passed or XYZ has been given to this client ahead of time, make the effort to phone them and say, just to let you know, hi, it's Clint here from Mixed Telematics. That blah, blah, blah that we said was going to reflect only next month. We managed to pull it forward and it'll actually be blah, blah, blah by tomorrow in your account. You happy again, sir? And then use those assumptive tie downs, etc., just to get that positive acceptance and have we met or exceeded the expectations. So it's one thing is communication, and let's go for that wow. When you exceed an expectation, when you exceed expectation, that is that wow moment. Sure, didn't expect that. How often have you, complained about a Mr. Delivery or Uber Eats, and hey, they arrive late, and then you're phoning, and I'm upset, and hey, they missed out my chips, and the food came cold, and anybody had that kind of a crap experience? So Hi. Okay. And then what happens is, you know, the restaurant sometimes phones you, and maybe if you're lucky, they'll phone and they'll apologize. And again, you just say, look, I'm just so super frustrated. Every time I order from you guys on XYZ app, you know, they're always late. Not a problem, sir. I'm going to personally jump in a car right now. I'll be there. It's on the grill at the moment. You're just around the corner. I'll be there within the next 15 minutes. Not a problem. And the guy arrives in time. And guess what? He hands you, you know, the brown paper bag and says, you know what I've done for you? I've actually thrown in an extra 500 grams of ribs at absolutely no charge for you. Really, our apologies. The system broke down. No excuses, but hopefully also when you come back next time, just mention if you walk into our restaurant, just my name is blah, blah, blah. Mention my name, and I'll also throw in a couple of free sodas when you come in. Are you not wowed? Was it necessary for that guy to throw in a couple of these extra things or personally come in his car? No, it's just great that you got the chat. But your mindset is saying, shit, going away from I'll never order from them again to at least, you know, people stuff up, companies stuff up all day and every day. It's how you recover. Our opportunity is when we stuff up, the company, our partners stuff up as they will, as they do. It's our opportunity to make the lemonade out of the lemon. Turn it around. And every single call is shit. Did I leave that person with a big, well, maybe not a big smile, but in a better situation than when before they phoned us? Do they have mixed telematics or whatever customer service in higher regard now? Hopefully. Okay. Sometimes even tell them your flow joke of the day. Just before I let you go, Loshni, can I tell you my flow joke of the day? What does that mean? What did the Pink Panther say when he stood on the ant? I don't know. Didn't. You guys are idiots. I love you. Thank you. Bye. You know. So why not have quirky little one-liners? Mr. Just before I go, Mr. Polsking, quick joke here. Has Van der Merwe got radar in his car? Of course he has. Whenever his wife sits in the car, she says, radar. Oh, okay, thank you. Have a good day. Cheers, bye. Why not? You know, as long as it's a nice little neutral joke, but it becomes a little bit of a quirk. Short, sharp, sweet. Just let's put that person in a towards state again. Plus, you can make those little jokes in. And let's see how many jokes in a day, our personal target. Who laugh? Because what it also does for you, even though you've told the joke 15 times in a day, you know what happens? You start smiling. When you hear the customer laughing or giggling or whatever, but probably, hopefully they laugh a little bit if the joke is appropriate for them. You know, you start smiling, and for the next call, you're in a better state as well. You're not all angry and emotional. Okay, manage expectations. Okay, so again, directly off that, follow up and follow through. Follow through with your promises, from an expectation perspective, and just do it on time. If you promised a call back at 3 o'clock, don't phone them at 3:15. That's going to be pissed off. So, dude, I was expecting 3 o'clock. You know, if you can, slightly earlier, but if the agreement was 3 o'clock and they agreed 3 o'clock, make space in your diary to phone that person back at 3 o'clock and give them the feedback. Make it a good habit. So this is really how we want to, I call it, dilate people's pupils, get them all excited, get them to get that wow experience. Let's take away that bitterness and let's replace it with a little bit of honey or lemonade and make people feel a little bit better. So when I was in Vegas a few years ago, there's a company called Zappos.com who are probably famous for being one of the originators of shipping shoes, and now they sell accessories all over the United States. And they are beyond passionate around customer calls and customer care. And even though sometimes people phone in and they want a product that they don't stock, they will go out of their way to find it, stock it, and get it to you either way. So if you probably can't read it, it's a little bit far away, but there on their wall it says, we are here to provide a service and wow our customers, not just take care of your transactional needs. Our priority is to create deep and emotional connections with our customers. If you want to chat or have us lend in here, we find value in all conversations, and it's always our hope that we make you feel as comfortable as if you're talking to an old friend. So in this particular year, I happened to be there 2019, and I had the 2018 stats up there. Okay, the 2018 stats up, you know, of the 2,111,000 calls that they received or made, which is pretty long. Their thing is, they pride themselves not on the shortest call, they pride themselves on the longest Zappos call of 10 hours and 51 minutes. That's, look, I'm not encouraging long calls, you know, especially if this happens to be Zappos, and I really don't want you know, trying to be a agony online and stuff, but this just, I'm trying to illustrate the extremes that a customer service, a customer centric company, the lengths that they go to. They've got the most random calls for tickets, directions, food, university, like random, and they brag about it. I took a tour of their organization and was completely blown away at everything that they do. And to an extent, I came back and we've tried to bring in a couple of the own little quirks that from some of the learnings into our own environment. And I think we're a little bit left of center. I think we can do a lot more, especially now that we're doing customer services and really trying to ingrain a culture of wow. So hopefully some of these little tips and tricks, hopefully you're going to start putting them into action. You're going to start practicing them. Take notes, and just every day, every call, see how you can control your own emotions better, how you can have better quality conversations, how we can make people really feel they've been listened to, like we care. So in this I'm actually just recording this for future anyway, but we can go now into a little bit of a discussion and question and answers time. Okay.